Let's dive into Billy and Charlie's training so we can stay consistent at home. We want to reward the behaviors we want to continue to see from them to increase the rate of those behaviors. We also want to follow through and use the training equipment to decrease the rate of unwanted behaviors. So let's dive into their collars. For Billie Jean, we have a slip collar. So this is the collar that we're going to attach her leash to. How it works is it's just going to fit nice and snug on her neck. This little tab slides down so that it fits properly, allowing one finger underneath. When we need to get her attention, we are going to give a pop and release. It depends on the direction for what command we're using. For example, let's say we're doing the heel command and she's walking a little bit too far ahead. We're going to give more of an up pop. So what we're going to do is have her in the heel position. Heel means walk next to me on a nice loose leash. If she decides she doesn't want to do the command, we're going to follow through and we're going to say no, pop, heel, and then we're going to remind her of what we want her to do. And then of course, when she is walking next to us, we're going to reinforce with treats, praise, and petting to encourage her to continue to walk next to us in the heel position. So it is a quick pop and release. Now for Charlie, we have the prong collar. So how we're going to put this on and take it off is we are going to stabilize one prong, push down and follow through, and then put it on Charlie by pinching the two prongs together and sliding it in like so. The leash is going to be attached to the D-ring here, and we're going to use the same pop and release motion. So we have her in a heel, she's doing really well, we reward when she's following the command. Then if she decides to walk ahead or not be in the heel position next to us anymore, we're going to say no, follow through with a little pop, tell her heel again to remind her of what she should be doing. So again, it's no, pop and release, give her the command again. That's how we're going to follow through whenever she's on leash and we ask her to do a command if she doesn't follow through. Now, that's not to say we can't also use the remote collar. It all depends on the situation. Sometimes you use one, sometimes you use the other, sometimes you use both together. It depends on the level of distraction. And if we think that maybe Billie and Charlie are just a little confused and need a little guidance because they're doing something in a new environment, or are they just not listening to us, that's when we would use both. So let's talk about how to turn on their collars. So both collars have a little magnetic red dot on the collar itself. That's the on-off magnet. The remote here has a matching red dot, so we're going to touch these two together and you're going to see a green light flash. That lets you know that the collar's on, charged, and ready to go. Same thing with Charlie. So Charlie is red, touch, green light on, good to go. Now to turn on the remote, the on-off button in the back, we're going to push and hold it until the screen lights up. Now, the collar is coordinated with the color. Since black is the first button, black is dog number 1. So since it's a 2-dog system, you see on the screen here how it says dog number 2. Now let's say we want to look at dog number 1's level without pushing her button. This is the vibrate key, but we're going to talk about it in detail later. I'm going to push it to toggle to dog number 1. So you see that Billie's level is 12 and Charlie's level is 20. This is what works for them to get their attention. It's just enough to say, hey, what are you doing? So I'm going to show you real quick. So even though the screen is on dog number 2, which is Charlie, if I push Billie, it will still stimulate Billie's level. So how to use this and when to use it. Let's say go back to the heel exercise. We're walking with them. We have them in a heel. They're supposed to walk next to us on a nice loose leash no matter what distractions are going on. If they get a little distracted and get out of the heel position, we're going to say no, push the button, and then repeat the command heel. Same thing for Charlie. If she gets out of heel position, no, stem, heel. No, stem, heel. So we give the command, or I'm sorry, we give the signal no, follow through, and then give the command again to remind her of what she should be doing. So that's how we're going to use this. What I recommend is having your thumb kind of rest on the little dot right here so you know that up is Billie and down is Charlie. That way you don't get them confused. You cannot stimulate both dogs at the exact same time. You have to do one and then the other if they're both making a mistake at the same time. Okay, so moving on to their commands. So in the heel position, I recommend having them walk next to you in the heel for 80 to 90% of the walk. The other 10 to 20%, I would tell them free. That's their time to sniff, explore, use the restroom. They don't have to be right next to you, but in the heel position, they're meant to be right next to you on a nice loose leash. Again, 80% of the walk. Then we have sit. Sit means stay until they're told free or heel. So for example, door manners, we have them sit, open the door, then we can have them heel with us together, or we can remind them to stay by repeating the command sit. We go through the door and then we tell them free to go through. If they don't follow your command, or if they get up before you tell them free, use the training equipment. No, follow through, have them sit. They have to respect our commands and wait until we tell them the command is then over by saying free or heel, whatever the case is. If they do a good job, we're always going to, at minimum, praise them for their work, but a treat is great to encourage them to continue to improve and follow our commands. Then we have down. Down means lay down and stay. So they have to down all the way on our command. If they get up before we say free, no, follow through, down. If they don't go in the down we ask, same thing, no, follow through with a pop of the leash down or the remote collar. When they are in the down position and they're doing what we're asking, we're going to reward low, good down, and put the treat either on the ground in front of them or below their chin to encourage them to stay in that down. Now, as we're doing our distraction and walking around, good down. What that does is it praises and it reminds them of what they need to be doing is the down position, because they associate the word down with being in the down. Now, when we go back to free them, we never free from a distance. We always go back to Billie and Charlie, good down, reinforce that they stayed, and then we tell them free. This is going to create a really strong stay. Same thing with place. Whenever we have company come over, we put them on place. That way they have a spot to be. They're still included, but they're on a boundary. So the difference between down and place is keep all four paws on a boundary. They can stand, sit, lay down as long as they're within that boundary. For place, same idea. We don't free from a distance. It is a long duration stay. So we reward by putting the treat on the bed to let them know the bed is the positive zone. If they get off the place bed before we say free, no, follow through, put them back on place. So that's how we're going to create that consistent boundary for them, that consistent, hey, these are the rules at home, no matter where we are, because we follow through when we give a command. And then, of course, when we're ready for them to be done with the command, we go back to them, good girls, free, and we release them. Free is the release term of you don't have to be in a set command anymore. You are done with that command. You are free from it. Then we have come when called. So with this one, we don't want to put them in a sit, back up 10 feet, and then call them. We want to have them in a free because it's a more realistic time that we're going to need them to come back to us is when they're sniffing and exploring. So we tell them free, they sniff, explore, and then we're going to call them to us. Come. As they're coming to us, we encourage them with praise, have them sit, and then we reward. We want to reward this command every time because we want to create that strong reward history of coming to us. A reward history is a positive association with doing a certain behavior over and over again and getting a reward or positive thing with that. So we want to create that reward history with doing all the commands for us the first time we ask versus always having to follow through when they make a mistake. So if they didn't come when you call, no, follow through with the remote collar. In an open area without a fence, I highly recommend having a leash on just as a safety net so you can reel them in like a fish if needed. But primarily you're going to focus on the remote collar to say no, repeat the command until they come to you, and then we still reward because we want to associate positive with coming into our space. Then we have leave it. Leave it means don't grab that. So let's say you drop some food on the ground, leave it. If they do, great. Nothing else has to happen. If they still show interest, follow through with the remote collar. So it all depends. If you're not going to have a leash on them, like for example in the house, focus on the remote collar. If you're out in public, use both. It just depends on the situation, again, of what level of distraction is going on. So that's how we're going to follow through with Billie Jean and Charlie. We're going to increase the rate of the behavior by rewarding, decrease the rate of certain behaviors by following through with the training equipment. Have fun, stay consistent, and now we're going to show you their commands in action. Down. Good girls. Good down. There you go, Charlie. Good down, Billie. Down. Good girls. Good down. Good down. Good down. Good girls. Good down. Charlie, want a treat? Good down. Free? Good girls. Good job.
All right, let's go over the other features of the remote. So you already know how to turn the remote and the collars on. Let's go over how to turn them off. It's going to be the same concept. Red dots, we're just going to touch them together. It turns off the collar. So that red light means that it is off. And you just do that for both of them to turn them both off. To turn off the remote, on and off button on the back, push and hold until the screen goes blank. So we've already gone over what the black S button and what the red S button means. They have another feature that goes along with them. This is going to be the boost feature. So say Billie or Charlie is doing something dangerous and we need to be able to communicate with them whenever they are in that high adrenaline state of mind, because their regular level only reaches about here. Whenever they are doing something dangerous or they are in a high adrenaline state of mind, they're up here. So this way we have a way to communicate with them. So it's going to bump their level very fast so that way we can communicate with them when they're doing something dangerous. So how we do that, say Billie is doing something dangerous and we want to get her attention, we're going to hold the black S button and then we're going to hit the red S button. So this is going to jump her level from 12 to 22. And then say Charlie is doing something dangerous and we want to be able to communicate with her, red S button, and then we're going to hit the black S button. So it jumps her level from 20 to 40. So that way we can still communicate with her whenever she's in that high adrenaline state of mind. So that is for emergency cases when they are doing something dangerous. On the other side of the remote, we have a T. This is just going to be the vibrate feature. How we use this is you click it, there's going to be a toggle that pops up on the screen. If you want to vibrate Billie, you're going to hit the black S button. This is going to vibrate her collar. The red S button is going to vibrate Charlie's. I forgot to turn her collar back on. But this feature we use to make sure that the collars are on and ready to go and make sure that they are working. You can also use it further down in their training whenever they know the boundaries, so in about 3 or so months, and they just need a little bit of a reminder. All right, and then there is a flashlight feature. How we use the flashlight feature, on and off button on the back of the remote. Whoever's number is on the screen is whose flashlight's going to turn on. So if we click it once, it's going to be a flash. Click it twice, it's going to be a steady light. Click it that third time, it's going to turn off completely. And then say we want to turn on Charlie's, we can toggle back and forth between their numbers by hitting that T button. So right now it's on Charlie's. If I click the T button twice, it's going to go back to Billie's number. So that's how we toggle back and forth between the collars. Then there's an M/C button on the back of the remote. This is just for the way that it's going to stem. So at the beginning we use continuous, which is the C, at a very low level to introduce the collars to them. And then we move over to momentary, which is the M, whenever they get further into the training and they understand what the collars are. And then say this level on the screen for Billie isn't working for her anymore, it's too much or it's not enough, we can change her level by holding down the dial. And then once that 1D is flashing, we're able to rotate her number to whatever one we want to put it on. Level 12 is working great for her. So how we lock this number in, we're just going to get it back to 12, push and hold until it stops flashing. And then it means that when we put this in our pocket, we can't accidentally move her level and we're unaware of it. And then if we wanted to do Charlie's, we're going to toggle to Charlie's number. And then we're going to push and hold again till it's flashing. And then we can rotate her to whatever number we want. So it's working for her. So I'm just going to lock it down at 20. So just so you know, 1D means you are on Billie's, and then that 2D at the bottom of Charlie's, that's how you know which one you are working with. All right, so that is all of the features of the remote. So let's go over what is inside the box. It comes with extra prongs that are longer. They don't have long hair, so I don't think you're going to have to use these, but if it's not making good contact with their neck, you can always change over to the longer prongs. Like I said, I don't think that they are going to need it. They have shorter hair. And then at the bottom of the box, there is a manual to go over all of the extra features of the remote. If you have any questions about anything and you just want to read over it. They are waterproof, so if they do get wet, it is not a big deal. Just make sure if they're going to stay wet to rotate it on their neck so it doesn't irritate one part of their neck with the rubbing with the water. There also is a 2-year warranty, so if you want to get in contact with the company, say something's wrong with your remote or the collars, you can get in contact with them and it does have a 2-year warranty. They do stay charged for about 2 days, so if they wear it for about 10 to 12 hours a day, it should last for 2 days. So if you just charge the collars every other day, you should be fine. They are rechargeable. The ports for the collars are right here, right underneath the prongs. And then for the remote, it is on the back where the on and off button is. And then it does come with a charger inside the box, so you can charge all three at the same time. So that is all of the features of the remote, so have fun and stay consistent.